welcome to the Film Obsessed Couple. I'm Shelley.
And I'm Scott.
Thank you, everyone, for listening. Scott and I are a married couple obsessed about movies. Scott is more analytical, while I'm a little bit more open-minded. We're unscripted and unfiltered, which means we might get up to get down with the sickness.
Whatever that means.
Yep. It's going to happen, so you better buckle up.
First off, rate and review and give a shout out on iTunes, and we'll shout you out too. But I've been reading a book about the plague, a horror novel about the plague, and I've been dreaming or kind of having some dreams of getting sick.
Oh, goodness.
So hopefully we're not getting down with the sickness there.
I didn't mean literally. It's
But,
a song. You know what I'm talking about, right?
I know, but
Okay.
rate and review on iTunes and all, and we'll shout you out.
5 stars, iTunes. Leave your name and where you're from, and we'll give you a shout out.
First time caller, long time listener. So today we're talking about Jupiter Ascending. After last episode, we were like, boy, that sucked. Really nothing to talk about with the munchies. You know, I haven't uploaded it just yet, but it'll be going live this Monday from when we're recording this. And yeah, nothing really to talk about there. So I was like, I've heard this movie's bad. Maybe bad enough that it's fun to talk about, and we'll see.
I think I feel good about this. It's going to be a really fun episode. I've got some really interesting things to talk about, and I know you do too.
Sure.
You
We'll
do.
see.
You do. You always do.
So, yeah, we're talking about Jupiter Ascending, which was came out in 2015, directed by the Wachowskis, Lana and Lily Wachowski.
Hmm.
And I'm assuming you'd never heard of this beforehand?
No.
Yeah, because this was a year before we met and before I forced you into becoming like a movie snob.
Mm-hmm.
So, I never watched it. I was long gone from working at the theater. I may have actually watched this if I was still working at the theater at the time, but I just heard that was like, wow, this movie was not good. And I had watched the Wachowskis' movie, not the previous, but before, called Speed Racer, which was an adaptation of the cartoon, and I did not care for that.
Oh, really?
And they did this movie Cloud Atlas, which I heard was bad, where you had different people playing. You had like Tom Hanks and the guy from The Matrix, Hugo Weaving, playing different ethnicities through time or something. And there's like a picture online you can see of like Hugo Weaving as an Asian man. He's in Asian makeup
Oh, no.
because it's something to do with like reincarnation.
I guess this was when Channing Tatum was kind of big, too, right after those, what are they called? The sex movies?
That's what they're called, the sex movies. 21 Jump Street.
How to get down with the sickness. That's what he's doing.
So I had to pull it up because I think you're going to freak. But these are American people playing Asian characters.
Oh,
Asian on the right. They're what they look like on the left.
what the hell?
Yeah.
What's up with his eyebrows?
I don't know. Well, that's what an Asian man's eyebrows looks like to the Wachowskis, I guess. Maybe that's a movie we should do. I heard it was like a drama based on a book. So the Wachowskis, not in like the best place at the moment. Because, Speed Racer I don't think did very well. Cloud Atlas I don't think did very well. And they're like, well, this is what we're going to do next. We're going to do a gigantic space opera like Star Wars.
Yeah, it looks like they put a lot of money into this.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know that they really thought it through, though. Or maybe they did. Maybe it's their thing. It's just not my thing. It wasn't horrible, but it wasn't great either.
Yeah, this movie cost, and I think they're kind of giving you two different figures just so it's not as bad as it really was. It says estimated budget anywhere from 176 to 210 million.
That's a huge ass jump.
Yeah. They were like, we'll give them a estimated figure so they're not like 250 million. They're like, lowball them.
Just 170 something.
And I mean, the special effects do look good.
Yeah, it wasn't bad.
Yeah, the scene where they're flying through Chicago and stuff, I mean, it looked pretty good.
Yeah.
Which I read that scene took like 6 months to film.
Shit.
Yeah, pretty fucking crazy.
We're not too far from Chicago.
No, I've always wanted to see it.
Yeah, me too. It's like 8-hour drive, I think.
Is it? I'm watching ER right now, which takes place in Chicago, and parts of it look like New York to me.
Mm-hmm. I think people are supposed to be rude in Chicago too, so it's probably like the same thing.
Which, to be fair, we had always heard, and I had a very biased opinion of New York because working at the credit card company I did, I dealt with a lot of business people from New York, and they were always awful to me.
I know.
And maybe that's just how they were, but they were like so rude and short, quick to be rude to you if you didn't do exactly what they wanted. And I started to be like, man, New York sucks. But to be fair, when we went, we didn't really have any. I mean, of course,
No.
nobody was bad. I just think the business people, kind of have to be cutthroat a little bit.
Oh, probably. Yeah, no, I enjoyed it very much. I thought everybody was very entertaining at points.
I was a little skewed. I was like Homer Simpson in The Simpsons, where he had a bad experience in New York in the 70s when New York was kind of in a bad spot.
Mm.
And then he came back later after it had been kind of reformed and was like, this place sucks. And it's like, great. So I was doing a little reading this morning because this should have come with like a scroll or like some text beforehand or like a guy should have had Anthony Hopkins.
Oh, yes.
Like,
Yes.
this is what's going on here. This is a planet called Earth, and there's a Abraxas corporation, and here's a book.
Just to read this book first.
Because we were watching the movie, and I think I said to you, being like, man, there's a lot of stuff I don't think I'm picking up here.
Same. Like, it was throwing it down, and I'm just like, it's going to have to stay there because I don't know how to pick it up.
It's too hard to pick up.
I can't. It's too much.
Basically the whole thing is, well, we'll start. The first line of the movie is, I'm an alien. And
Yeah.
I had to think. I was like, it hit me later. I was like, 2015, we're right in the middle of the presidential campaign where Trump got elected. I wonder, do you think this was kind of like a reaction to that whole thing? Because Trump's big thing in that period was like, we've got to stop the illegal immigrants, illegal aliens from coming in here. Got to put up the wall. Mexico's going to pay for it. And still haven't. I don't know if they were kind of like, oh, we need to... an illegal immigrant's the main character, is going to save the world in this movie.
I don't know. That might be reading too much into it, but possibly.
I can definitely guarantee you some people that were going to vote for Trump may have seen this movie.
Mm.
Although, if they knew that the movie was directed by two trans women, may
Oh.
not have.
They would not have.
But I bet they were like, an illegal alien is going to save the world. And they walk out. You're telling me the woman that cleans my toilets is going to save this world?
That's bullshit. That is bullshit.
But yes, Mila Kunis plays Jupiter Jones.
Yep.
Can't get through without laughing.
Yep.
She's an illegal alien. We get some backstory on her, which doesn't really play at all. Running through it very quickly. Her mom and her dad met in Russia, because I think Mila Kunis is like a real Russian, has Russian ancestry, maybe.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But mom and dad met in Russia. The dad was an astrologist, loved planets and all that stuff. Mom got pregnant, and the Russia secret police busts in their door and kills the dad.
No idea why.
No.
It just happened. It looked like they were trying to steal something, or maybe they were looking for something.
Hey, you know what? It doesn't matter because it doesn't come back.
It doesn't.
I was like, oh my gosh, they're getting like robbed, and then it's like, oh wait, they're wearing like uniforms.
Mm-hmm.
They're like, Russian police, no reason for us to be here, but it was I'm assuming the 80s, which not the greatest. As we were watching the show For All Mankind right now, Russia and the Soviet Union was not the best place.
Yeah, little rough.
Yeah. So the mom decided to illegally come here by sleeping in a freight container on a freight ship.
That was crazy. And I thought kind of a silly line here was Mila was like, Mom pushed everyone away except her sister, and at some point she pushed me out.
I forgot about that.
I'm like, boom.
Yeah.
That was a line.
Oh man, how terrible.
Holy fuck.
I know. It's like let's say the Wachowskis maybe not refined for or not renowned for their dialogue. It's like in The Matrix, I know Kung Fu.
Yeah.
Which was a popular line, but.
And she didn't say it like it was supposed to be funny.
Yeah.
Like it was serious.
Mm-hmm.
Like my mom pushed everyone away, and then eventually she pushed me out.
It's like she's practicing for stand-up comedy or something.
Yeah, and I thought, oh my gosh, her and her mom are estranged, She got adopted. But then her mom is still in her life.
Yeah, no, she was earlier talking about how her mom pushed her out of her vagina.
I know, but
Yeah, it's so crazy. She was like, I was born in international waters. Her mom was, I guess, like super like into astrology and
Mm.
horoscopes and stuff like that, I guess. I don't know if they're saying like Russians are like that, like into that kind of mysticism type thing, but
Mm.
she's like, I was born in the house of Leo, which predicts that I will go on and have great things happen to me. We're like, well, okay, well, we didn't really need to know that because we know something's going to happen in the movie.
Right.
Yeah, so you don't really know this, but they go to live in America with like her cousins, which I don't know if that's her mom's brother or her dad's brother, but this family, which I just assumed was maybe another family they were living with, is like her cousins.
Yeah, it's her sister and cousins.
Okay, it's the mom's sister.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, I should have put two and two together, but they have all these people coming in and out, and you're just like, is this just a family
Yeah.
living with another Russian family or something? So, cut to now, and she is what now for an illegal alien? What do you think would be a job that she would be doing?
Oh, jeez. I know what you're doing. This is so stereotypical. Just some cleaning.
She's a cleaning lady,
Yeah.
and she cleans toilets.
If she was a man, she'd be like some kind of hedge trimmer. What are they called?
Oh, like a day worker, day laborer.
Yeah.
Ugh,
or
God.
groundskeeper.
Yeah, I wouldn't put it past this movie to have like them standing outside of a Home Depot. Yes, no, she is a maid to a neighbor or what? The
Rich people,
yeah.
basically. Because she's like looking at their clothes and their jewelry, things that I would probably do as well.
Yeah, she's like looking at it and
I'd be like, ooh, pretty. This would look good on me.
Thank God they didn't ever steal it. Be like, oh, that's what happens.
Oh, I know.
If you hire these people, I'd be like, oh my God.
Oh, jeez.
Jupiter is wanting some money. And they are all sitting around the table in the morning, and she's getting ready to ask her uncle for some money because she wants to buy a telescope that looks exactly like the one that her father used to wear.
Mm-hmm. Used to wear.
Egg on there. That her father used to use. And she's all like, I'm trying to get some extra money. If you could give me some, and she's like, I need 2,000 because I think
it was real expensive.
Because it shows her bidding on it on like eBay. It says current bid 1,500, and she puts a bid in, and it was like 2,000. I'm like, how about 1,501?
And one, yeah. Let's not go crazy here.
The uncle's all like, no, I don't remember why, but basically he just says no.
Yeah.
He's like, no, I'm not giving you the money. So her cousin has this harebrained scheme to get money that she will sell some of her eggs for like 10 grand.
Yeah. I didn't realize it was that much.
And then say, damn, if you're not having kids, ladies, 10,000. It's probably more.
I probably would have done that if I had the chance.
Yeah.
But then I don't know. It depends on the risks,
Oh, I'm sure there's quite a bit.
I mean, it was pretty risky for her.
Well, we'll find out why, yeah.
Yeah.
But this BS is he's going to give her like just enough money to get the telescope and keep the rest.
Yeah, asshole.
I know.
She's the one doing all the work.
It's really dumb, but we find out that Jupiter has used her employer's name because, and I found out later it's because she's an illegal immigrant. And I was like, oh, they don't really like kind of, say that in the movie. I was just like, oh, she's just using it because she doesn't want people to know, but makes sense.
I didn't even notice.
Yeah, because you're kind of like, well, why did she use her employer's name?
I don't know what's happening right now. It's just the start of the movie, and I'm already out.
I know. I can't pick this thing up.
It is heavy.
So it doesn't really come out of nowhere. We've been seeing some alien stuff in the background here. Should go ahead and give a background to it. We said the House of Abraxas. Abraxas is a movie from the 80s with Jesse the Body Ventura, which is terrible. He's an alien in that, so maybe. But I was thinking that too, because Riff Tracks did that, and I watched Abraxas with it, and it's terrible. But they were like, the House of Abraxas. I'm like, Abraxas? I guess we can go in and give some background on this here. The House of Abraxas, it was the mom, and she has 3 kids, and they control this company that makes like this life serum to make people young. And we don't know what that is yet, but it will come into play.
Yes, it will.
So we've got the mom, we've got the eldest brothers played by Eddie Redmayne, who is one of the worst actors in this movie. He's talking like this.
He's already old. Like I guess his vocal cords stayed old and his body just looks young.
Well. I have something that I read on this wiki for this movie, which is somehow still online, that says why his vocal cords may have been damaged.
Oh.
Yeah, and I was like, that was not in the movie at all.
Do tell.
We'll get there. I'll say it here. I know. Stay tuned. But he's like, I told you when we watched it, he's like sucking in air and talking. He's like, hello,
Jesus.
my name is Bela. That's hard.
Yeah, I doubt that it was like that, but
No, he's just like, my name is Bella. Well, we've got the older brother, Balaam. We've got the younger sister, and then the youngest of them is Titus. So forgive me for not knowing the sister's name. And there's some Game of Thrones type, betrayal going on in the family.
yeah, no sexing each other up though.
No, they do show the sister, her naked from behind later, just to give that to the people, I guess.
Yeah.
We do get some scenes of them, you're like, oh, something's going on here. They just figure out that they want something to do with Earth. You're like, oh, Earth, they want Earth.
Who doesn't?
They're like, yes, we need to get to Earth for some reason. And he's like, where will go? We see now 3 hunter/splicers kind of like hovering around. They're all on top of this building.
Oh yeah, this is the first time I laughed.
Yes, because we'll get into it, but splicers are supposed to be like humans or aliens, whatever they are, spliced with animals. Because there's a black guy here, and he's got like a mohawk, but it's made of feathers, and it looks awful.
Well, what really got me, and I guess I didn't realize it at first, that they were supposed to be feathers. He's got like a goatee made out of bird feathers.
Yeah.
And it looks awful.
Oh, yes.
Like when I first saw it, I didn't think it was feathers. I thought it was just horrible makeup.
Mm-hmm. It could be both.
Somebody fucked his face up.
It could be both.
Maybe, but when I looked at it again and I was like, oh, those are feathers. I was like, well, that is still very stupid.
Oh, very.
Why?
So very stupid. Well, they're like hovering over this building, and of course there's a cyborg dude. He's got like a cyborg eye type thing.
Yeah.
And then we have a typical Japanese anime type woman. She's got like the pigtails and blue hair and a skirt.
Yeah, just anything you've ever seen in a cartoon.
Yeah.
Basically.
And she has it very easy in this movie because all she has to do is ride around on this little hovercraft. Yeah, and just try to like look and find people. It can go invisible. So I'm sure they were like, well, you're going to be on this thing the entire movie. And she's like, ka-ching.
Yeah, right?
They are at this clinic, and they see a lone man walking into the clinic. They're like, oh, who the hell is this? It's Channing Tatum. His name in this movie is Kane Wise. The names. There's a character later in this movie called Chicanery Knight.
Oh my goodness. Well, Kane reminds me of the martial arts guy in he's in The Matrix.
Oh, John Wick?
John Wick, yes.
Right.
Jesus.
Kane's the blind man.
Yeah. Oh my God, that took me a minute.
Oh, that's fine. I thought you were talking about Kane from the 80s show Kung Fu. And I was like, wow, that's a hell of a reference.
No, you know.
Yeah, Kane Wise, he goes into this clinic, finds I thought it was the adoption papers, but it is the egg clinic that he is in here now.
Mm-hmm.
But he finds the paperwork that has been signed, and he smells it and gets like some information from it, I guess.
Which, again, we don't really know what he is.
At this point, but we can go ahead and spoil it. He is a splicer, and he has been spliced with a wolf.
Yeah.
He's got like the ears, which his ears are so fucking stupid.
Oh,
He's got like elf ears.
they are elf ears. Yeah.
He's got blonde hair and like a blonde goatee.
Which looks awful.
It looks so bad. And
I'm like, Channing, you're a good looking guy. This is not good looking.
which they've got some people in here, and I just wanted to be like, why? Like, did you not see their last two movies? Speed Racer was not great. I haven't been back to it, but I remember it being kind of boring. And then I haven't seen Cloud Atlas, but I heard about it.
Mm.
Like these directors will put you in Asian face.
They will. They'll do it.
Do you see what they did to the Asian woman in this movie?
Yeah, typical.
Yeah.
Like, didn't even do anything interesting with her.
They're
I
like,
don't, is she spliced with an Asian?
They're like, give her huge boobs.
Like, what is she spliced with?
Oh, I don't know. I'm not sure. They don't say, and that's quite a lot in this movie where you're like, if you can't really tell what the animal is, you're like, are they just a person or have they been spliced with something? So Jupiter is like kind of talking to the woman who is her employer and kind of getting all ready and stuff to go. And she goes to the bathroom and all of a sudden her employer like starts to hover in the middle of this room.
I thought it was her friend.
Yeah, they're kind of friends. You're right. But she is who she works for. But yeah, they're having like a heart-to-heart, kind of giving her advice and stuff like that.
Yeah, 'cause she's going out on a date with some guy that she doesn't really like, but hoping that he proposes to her.
Sure. Well, Jupiter comes back in, or she like hides in a closet, and she is seeing her employer like kind of hovering in the middle, and then these gray aliens, called stalkers, I believe, from the Wikipedia I read. Gray aliens are like trying to find out if she is the one they're looking for, and Jupiter ends up taking a photo of them, and then it like blips and everybody's gone, and she's like, well, what the hell just happened?
These aliens, that show that we did with where they're praying to the vagina.
Oh,
with the aliens, and he falls
Mac
off.
and Me.
Mac and Me.
Yes.
That's what the little aliens kind of look like.
Oh, they do. They
Mac.
should have had butthole mouths.
Yeah, minus the butthole mouth.
Yeah.
But they do have like they kind of look like they have the little pot belly and the bigger
Yeah.
heads and the longer, thinner arms.
Yeah, they can go invisible for one reason or the other.
Yeah.
Jupiter is all like, wow, that was weird. I guess it didn't happen. I don't know what happened. Or she like doesn't know because we find out later that they can erase people's memories.
Yeah, they Men in Blacked them.
I was thinking that too. What a ripoff.
Yeah.
But they don't do the whole like neuralizer thing with the look at here. But it's just like, oh, we can blink and you won't even know what happened.
Yeah, I mean, I guess we would never know
Yeah.
what they use.
So she goes to the clinic and she's scrolling through her phone and finds a photo of the gray aliens being like, oh my god, that must have really happened.
It really did happen. I thought it was a dream.
Yeah. And she goes back into the clinic. They're getting ready to start the procedure. These doctors are being kind of weird. She's freaking out because she doesn't want to do this.
And she's saying no.
Yeah.
Like that means no.
Well, the reason they're not the reason that they're not stopping is because it turns out these doctors are the gray aliens.
Yes. I guess they can transform into fucking whatever.
Yeah, citation needed on that, I guess.
Jesus Christ.
But, god damn it, Channing Tatum comes in on his hover boots.
My second laugh of the movie. I'm
Yeah.
like, what the hell is he doing?
I don't know. He's got these hover boots, and they can pretty much do anything and everything. He's like faster than some ships in the movie on these things, as he's like flying through the air. But he comes in, and it's like a huge shootout and stuff, and he like is like skating.
Yeah.
Skating on the walls, doing flips. He's got like this little shield thing he uses, and kills these aliens and takes Mila Kunis out of there.
Visually, it looks good.
Yeah.
But ideally, it's stupid. Does
Yes.
that make sense? Because it's just like, why? Why?
Yeah, you're like, why does he have these hover boots? And I mean, like, I guess it's an okay idea, but he's like skating on walls and doing flips and
Hey, he might as well just have skates on. Kind of the same thing with little jets on the back.
should have like the hover boards from Back to the Future too. It's got like the big one where it has the jets on the back of it.
Yeah, see, I would have been okay with that.
You're like, oh, okay.
Because he's actually on something. But I'm like, why boots? Why?
Yeah.
I don't get it. Maybe it makes sense to somebody, but it did not make sense to me.
No, not to me either, and I don't think it made a lot of sense to anybody else. Jupiter wakes up and she was wearing like a like a gown, and she wakes up and she's in her clothes, and she's like, "Did you change me?" And he's like, "Yeah, I was not gentle."
Like, okay.
And then he's like, "Oh, I figured you wanna be in your own clothes and everything." And I took many photos of this, but
Yeah, I just barely touched you, but lots of photos for later.
for me specifically, I got weird with it. But they're in Chicago in like this kind of like warehouse or whatever, and he's all like, "Oh, I was here to rescue you." It's very Men in Black here. He's like, "The world is not what you think it is. They're
Mm.
aliens." This starts the scene where I guess they filmed for 6 months. They end up getting ambushed by these gray aliens again in these invisible ships, and this goes on for like 20 minutes.
Oh, yeah. These scenes, I forgot about that. It's just like, I'm done. Can we move on?
Yeah, you're like, "Oh, that's cool." They were doing flips and they steal a ship and they're like destroying buildings as they're flying through them and stuff. And Channing Tatum's like going underwater and flying up and destroying other ships. And
Yeah.
and I said it to you here. I was like, nobody's seeing this. Like nobody's seeing this at this point, being like, "Oh my God, it's another 9/11's happening right now."
It is explained later,
I
though.
know.
But still, at the point, you're like, what in the hell? You
Yeah,
know? And it's just like any other like alien type movie you've seen,
yeah.
basically. There was nothing real exciting.
Just spaceships flying and shooting at each other,
Yeah,
and it ends with like Kane, Jupiter. They've stolen one of the ships and like flying it around. They play chicken with another alien ship, and they get like their ship cut in half after destroying the other.
Mm-hmm.
And this is where you're like, okay, so like gravity and inertia doesn't exist because like they get flung out, and she's like flying, and he's got his hover boots, and he's like holding on to her, and he grabs her, and they just like kind of land on the ground with his hover boots. I'm like, so nobody has whiplash,
Oh,
like
no.
vertebrae getting dislodged. It's like they got thrown out of a ship, like getting spun around at like a million miles an hour.
They'll feel that later. Adrenaline is taking over right now. She's fine. She does a lot of falling in this movie. This
Yeah,
poor girl. Jupiter, she's just falling everywhere, waiting for somebody to catch her.
yeah, and they always do.
Yeah, just in time.
Yeah, I know. He should have been like, here, what we just did was gonna fuck your body up 7 ways from Sunday. So let me just inject you with this here, so you don't feel that pain, and it fixes your body, because you're gonna feel that later.
Or I have an extra pair of boots here.
Wow.
How about you throw those on?
Well, I don't think he has an extra pair because he ends up giving his to her later, as we'll see.
I know.
So he's like, they steal a truck, I guess. And he's like, "We gotta get out of the city." And she's like, "Oh my God, the aliens, like people are gonna know now that aliens exist." And he's like, "Not really. Have you seen Men in Black?" He goes, "Well, everything will be fixed and everybody's minds will be wiped." And she's like looking in the rearview mirror as they're driving, and she sees kind of the city being repaired.
Yeah.
So I guess that means that 9/11 was supposed to happen. Like they didn't repair the building. Well, 9/11 means, I guess, was probably humans, and because if it was aliens, they would have fixed it.
True.
Bin Laden confirmed not an alien. So Channing Tatum, he's been shot. We find he's been shot in like the side, and Jupiter's like, "Oh my God!" And he's like, "It's okay, it's okay." And she's like, "That's got to be fixed. I'm a person who cleans toilets for a living. I know how to fix it."
Yeah, so she looks in the glove box.
What does she find?
God damn it. She finds a woman's maxi pad.
Yep.
You know, that is ginormous, that I feel really bad for this lady. There's something wrong with her.
They're like, "Thank God she's got a heavy flow."
Yeah, right? I mean, this is like the heaviest of heavy. This is like what you get after surgery. It's like almost a diaper.
Yeah.
And she slaps this on there, which I find if you, and this is just a little detail that kind of gets me, and maybe nobody else notices it, and maybe it doesn't even make sense, but later on, they tear that pad off,
Mm.
and it's the sticky side, but the sticky side goes down on the underwear. It does not absorb blood.
I see.
It's to hold it in place. So the other side actually absorbs everything. So if it had the sticky side, he'd just be bleeding still.
Yeah.
It would not be picking anything
Well, can
up.
you? Well, I don't know if it's maybe supposed to just kind of keep the blood in.
No.
Do you think it would? Be, okay.
No. So
The-
anyway, women, you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
But that's just like a point that I'm like, that wouldn't work.
Yeah. So Channing Tatum's like, look, I've got a friend here on this planet. I'm gonna take you to him. We used to be skyjackers together. And she's like, oh my god, are you in like a relationship with this man? You used to jack off together.
I don't even in the sky. You flew him up in your boots?
Yeah, I guess. Well, they get to like this farm, and there's bees everywhere. There's like
Yeah.
hives of bees everywhere, and this man, his name is Stinger, and it is Sean Bean from Lord of the Rings, Game of Thrones.
Oh, stinger because of a bee.
Mhm. Yep.
Just got that.
It never comes back, but when we first see him, his eyes turn yellow for a second, and then turn back to regular, and he and Channing Tatum are, not on good terms.
Oh my gosh, this all makes sense. It's because they use him later on. I know this is kind of spoiling it to get through like heavier traffic, so to speak, like aliens or, I think it was I forgot what they call it, like a wall that they had to get through, and they were like, "Oh, only Stinger can do it. He's the only one that can break through." And I guess it's because he's like a little bee, he can get through anything.
I guess. I don't know. It is very funny here because we do cut back to Eddie Redmayne as the older brother here, and he is literally watching the movie of Jupiter Ascending. He's watching the video of Channing Tatum saving her from the aliens in the hospital, and I'm like, so are there cameras everywhere? He's literally watching the actual movie of him saving her, and he's like, oh, who is this man?
I don't know. That is kind of weird.
Well, we'll find out. He'll tell in a minute here, but we'll go through it on exactly how, what the Earth is and what happened here. But again, from the wiki that I did not pick up from this movie at all is after his mom died, the older brother, Eddie Redmayne's character, inherited this place on Jupiter. And it's like a factory, I guess, for making the stuff we'll get to in a second. But his guard that he has, like his military, are these dragon type things.
Oh, yeah.
I put them in my notes as gargoyles.
Yeah.
Because they've got like a long tail, wings, and like a lizard head, though. Like kind of dragons.
Yeah. Lizard dragons.
When he lands on Jupiter and these things come out to greet him, I'm like, what are we doing?
I know.
What are we doing here?
What are these things?
I don't know.
They're kind of cute.
Then he's like, oh, we need to get the Earth. And I was like, yeah, sure, we'll get the Earth. I was like, okay.
Yeah.
And he's got like this little assistant, which I found out later is supposed to be like a man spliced with like a rat. Because he's like, his little assistant dude's like pale. He's got like the nose, and I don't think he has the teeth.
Rat boy.
Yeah, I just thought he was very pale.
Yeah. Oh.
I guess the whole thing is that like if someone's fucked up looking in this movie, oh, they were spliced with something.
Oh, yeah, don't worry about that.
Like, oh, his makeup looks bad. Yeah, he was spliced with something.
There's an elephant face, too.
Oh, yeah. I love that dude. He's only in it for like a second, but yeah, he got an elephant face. He's got the trunk.
Very cute.
He does, later when he's flying the ship and they almost crash, he does do like an elephant thing. It's like,
oh, I missed that.
I think the main gargoyle guy here gets murdered because, Eddie Redmayne's like head of security dude is a gargoyle guy, and he ends up like having him killed. And another gargoyle comes in and he's like, you better find her. So, that's what's going on now.
All right.
But back at the farm, we kind of get some backstory on Channing Tatum here, which is he used to be, skyjacker, which was part of this military police. And he was a great soldier, but he is spliced with a wolf, so he's kind of dangerous. So one day, for no reason, he bit the throat out of a very high-ranking person.
Yeah. Can't do that.
Do you put it together now? Who in this movie has a fucked up voice? That was on the wiki now. It doesn't say that in the movie.
Oh. They didn't say he killed the person.
No, it doesn't mention it in the movie at all. The wiki, which is so funny, it was like Channing Tatum's character bit the throat out, possibly the eldest son, because he knew that he killed the mother. Spoiler. And I'm like, none of that's in the movie.
Kind of makes sense though, and that would have been a neat twist.
Yeah, if he was like, I remember you.
Yeah, and if his throat was all scarred up and shit, I didn't notice that.
I'm sure the Wachowskis are reading that wiki and they're like, God damn it, that's amazing.
That would have been really good.
Yeah. But the whole thing of it is like, after that happened, he was going to be sentenced to death, which, why would you be sentenced to death unless you was somebody high up? And for some reason, Stinger, Sean Bean's character, was like, somehow this is partly my fault.
I guess because he was his commanding officer or something.
I guess he was maybe like, I was talking and I was like, that guy's a jerk. I would really wish someone would kind of bite his throat out. And he's like, and, Channing Tatum's ears perked up. He's like,
He's all like, he takes things so literally.
Well, he gave him a command and he's like, oh.
Yeah.
He's like, no, down, Channing Tatum.
Down, I was just kidding.
Put the red rocket away. So Channing Tatum got exiled from the Legion. Sean Bean got exiled to Earth. And that's kind of where we're at. They do mention that they had wings at some point. Because Channing Tatum, he takes his shirt off because he was getting hurt. He got shot, And he takes his shirt off. And I was about ready to take this wedding ring off, I tell you what.
They keep his shirt off for the longest
I know.
time.
It's so funny.
Like, yeah, I get it. Okay. He's got abs. Great.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
Well, Sean Bean does some Star Trek healing here where he just kind of like points a little kind of gun at his ab where he was shot and it heals up.
Yeah. Before this, they call Mila Princess.
Yes. So that's another thing is Mila standing outside because at the very start of this, Sean Bean and Channing Tatum get into like a huge fight. And then they're kicking each other's asses and Mila's like, stop it right now. And as she puts her hands out, like all of the bees that are in this house start kind of like coming around her and she can control the way that they fly. And Sean Bean's like, oh my God, she's royalty.
Yeah.
It's like bees are trained to recognize royalty. And you're like, can you explain that? Is it because bees have a queen that they would understand who a queen is?
They're, genetically designed to identify royalty.
Okay.
So it's in their genes.
All right.
They don't lie. Bees don't lie. After this, I'm like, I love bees. Bees are amazing.
I'm not a big fan of them.
I mean, they don't lie.
Yeah, that's a line that doesn't make sense. It's like, bees don't lie. I'm like, well, they can't because they can't talk.
There's no communication there, so you are correct, sir.
They either sting you or they don't, or they leave you alone.
And then he's like, have you ever been stung by a bee? And she's like, no. Well, that's why.
I've never been stung by a bee. Am I royalty?
Probably.
Yeah,
I've been stung by a wasp.
Me too.
Does that count?
Yeah, me too. When I was a young kid, I had like this stick. Like it was like a red kind of like stick. And I don't remember. I used to like kind of play with it like I was a Ninja Turtle. But these kids in the neighborhood were like, oh, come here. And they showed me this, what turned out to be a wasp nest in the car. Like it was in the grill of the car.
Oh, jeez.
And they were like, I didn't know what it was. They're like, you should poke it.
Oh, no.
So I poked it and got stung by a wasp.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that I remember it hurting, but yeah, it sucked.
I was just getting the mail one day.
Really?
And it was in the mailbox.
Ugh.
It was like, no.
But what if I'm allergic to bees, though, and got stung by one? How am I supposed to know unless I get all these tests?
I don't know. I'm not like severely allergic, but my hand did swell up.
Oh, shit. I hear about people being like deathly allergic, and I'm like, I don't know. How am I supposed to know?
Yeah, find out one day.
So Sean Bean's all like, we've got to get her off of the planet and save her because she is the rightful heir. And what never comes back in this, well, for 1 minute, but Sean Bean has a daughter who's like coughing her lungs out in the background. And Channing Tatum kind of looks at her like, oh, sure. But she's like, I'm deathly ill apparently, but I'm going to go to the grocery store, Dad. I'll see you later. Never see her again.
I mean, she comes back a little later, but not her personally.
No, just something happens.
Something that happens that we'll explain.
So they're like, oh, well, she's royalty. We've got to get her off the planet. And this is where the 3 assassin dudes come back. And there's a huge fight again, which I don't know. How can you explain it? There's fights, Kane shooting people. Sean Bean gets shot, and I was like, oh my God, is he dead? Because there's a meme of him getting killed in all of his movies he does.
Oh, no.
But yeah, he gets shot. Mila Kunis runs away. She's like running in this cornfield, and the cyborg dude with the weird eye is like chasing after her while Tatum is fighting the Asian woman and the dude with the feathers on his head. And Mila gets shot by the cyborg dude, which apparently is just like kind of a paralyzing type thing because it like knocks her back.
Yeah.
The other two shoot and kill the cyborg guy. They betray him and they take Mila Kunis away because we find out that they're working for the sister.
Yeah, at first I thought, oh, they are working for Channing.
Yeah, you think that for a minute.
And then it's like, oh, wait, no, they're taking her. Oh, shit.
Yeah.
Okay, that's not good.
Yeah, which is this. I hate this scene so much. So they take off in their ship, and Channing Tatum like jumps on it and flies away with them.
Yeah.
But as they're leaving, you look down into the cornfields, and you see
crop
circles. You get it? I said that to you when we were watching. I was like, you get it?
You get
crop
it?
circles?
Boop, boop, boop. You got it?
I was like, oh my God.
And I'm like, wait, what? No, what does that mean?
It means aliens are leaving them.
Oh, shit. Okay.
So these two bounty hunters fly to a planet where the middle sister is. And Channing Tatum, I guess, has been on the ship or in the ship somehow because he survives. He like drops down on the planet when they land, and he's like skating all over this planet trying to get into this little castle that they're in.
I guess he didn't burn up as they were leaving Earth.
I was like, does it? Well, no.
Or did they just do a little time jump or something?
I don't know. It doesn't make sense. I was like, they kind of do it later in the movie, but they both had suits on.
Yeah, right.
So, but they don't have suits. He doesn't have a suit on at this point. So I'm like, how does that work?
Oh, they didn't think that through.
Yeah. Anyway.
Not like we do. We want logic.
I know. I think we could write a movie.
At least a little logic.
Yeah.
You know?
Where it was like he actually gets into the ship, so he's not. It's like that scene in Indiana Jones where he lassos onto the Nazi submarine, and then it cuts. The submarine goes underwater, and then it cuts, and then it just shows him riding it as it's like coming back out of the water, and you're like, how?
Yeah.
Like, how did he ride that?
How did that happen?
So Mila's taken to the sister here, and they're like, she's kind of trying to like woo her here.
And it shows how Mila is so fucking gullible.
Oh, yeah.
Like, oh, this lady's nice to me. She's got to be great.
Yeah, I know. We get a little bit of the backstory here that we've gone over where she was like, oh, her mother, she was 91 millennia years old. 91,000 years old, I guess. We get the backstory at some point here. We might as well just go over it that humanity did not start on Earth.
Say what?
Yeah. We all came from a different planet. They found this planet and they were dinosaurs and they replaced the dinosaurs with us. I think she's like, are you telling me you killed the dinosaurs? I was like, oh my God.
We didn't come from monkeys?
I don't know. And that raises a whole host of questions because how come we're finding like skeletons from millions of years before?
If we were spliced by dinosaurs, wouldn't we have some kind of dinosaur tendency?
Well, we're not spliced with them. They just murdered the dinosaurs and put us here.
Oh, okay. I thought maybe we were just spliced. That would have been cool. All right.
Yeah, that would have been something. But this also doesn't make sense because in the wiki, not said in this movie, but on the wiki, says the mom was born before the first cities of Earth were made. So that would mean that the Earth and we've only been here for 91,000 years.
Is she Eve?
Well, it does say that she is kind of like an angel. This is my favorite part. This is my absolute favorite part of this fucking stupid wiki. It says, the mother came to Earth and was perceived as an angel. Okay, so that's where we get Christianity. She was then impregnated by Satan.
Whoa.
And had 3 children. And I'm like, Satan?
Satan?
Where's Satan coming in here?
Yeah, I think Wiki went a little far on that one.
Yeah. Which that also doesn't make sense because it says she was impregnated by Satan, but it says the brothers and the sisters are different years old. Like the older brother is thousands of years older than the younger and the sister and the younger brother.
Maybe he came back.
I guess.
He's all like, hey, it was pretty good the first time. Let's try it again.
She's like, Satan, you walked out on my children and you're wanting more. And he's like, it's okay, baby. I just need some more money.
Yeah, he's a sweet talker, man.
I guess. But the mom, she established this whole industry of stuff. And the mom died. And the sister's like, the mother was killed. She was 91 millennia old. And she was murdered. But basically is like, they're fighting for control of the earth. We don't really know why at this point.
So they can
harvest it.
Harvest it, yeah.
Yeah. And
you said at this point. I'm like, I know the answer.
Well, they're trying to harvest, which they do say, but we don't know what harvest means.
True.
They're like, want to harvest the planet. My older brother wants to harvest it, and we should try and stop him. And she does show Mila Kunis like a statue of her mother, and it looks exactly like Mila Kunis.
Yeah, I mean, kind of.
Because this is where we find out that Mila Kunis is like I can't remember how they said it on the wiki page, but like...
It's almost reincarnated?
Almost, yeah. Like the mother reincarnated into Mila Kunis.
Because of the lining of the earth or something?
Something, yeah. I'm bullshit.
Some astronomy stuff.
It's like, I will leave my planet to my reincarnate because it's foretold my reincarnate will be born on a container ship. This is where we get the nudity here. The sister is like, both of the siblings, the older one and the younger sister have like bad age makeup on.
Oh, yes. Oh my gosh, yeah.
And the sister gets in this like kind of pond, or it looks like a tub basically. And it's got all this like electricity and light going through it. And she gets in and gets out. We see her ass, of course. And she is young again.
Yeah. She's all smooth.
Everywhere.
Smooth and silky. She's all like, feel my skin.
Yeah. Well, Channing Tatum comes in here and there's like, because he comes in with like a ship that Stringer is on. And this is, I looked up, apparently like this is the police of the galaxy.
Oh, okay.
And he's all like, hey, you stop trying to have sex with Jupiter and showing off your ass in this movie. We got to get her out of here.
She is mine. So
they take Jupiter to a planet. And they are, as they're landing on here, they're going through some security checks and stuff. And,
oh my gosh, yeah, this is probably the part that I don't like.
Well, one of the guys, as they get here, he's like, oh, welcome to hell, or whatever, because he's like, this planet sucks that we're going to. There's a movie out there called Brazil, and it's kind of like a futuristic take where, like, the future is very bureaucratic. Like, like this scene here, this scene is very much like the movie Brazil. So they're like, well, in order for you to get your claim to Earth, because you are the rightful owner of Earth now, you're the Queen's reincarnation, you've got to go through all this paperwork. And they get assigned this robot dude who looks very fucking crazy.
Yeah, he was very interesting looking.
Yeah, but it's basically, and they do say it, she's like, oh, remind me to never talk about the DMV, because the robot's like, I'm here to get you so you can get your rightful claim to Earth. And they're like, well, you need Form 2A. And like, oh, you have to file 7B. And oh, you need 8-7. And the robot...
going to different places, basically.
So many. And there's one where there's this giant woman. Like, the robot's like talking to her. And she's like 10 feet tall. She's like, did she file Form 9-8 yet? And he's like, ugh. So he ends up bribing this dude to get what they need so they can get started.
Finally.
Yes, and then we cut to, you want to talk about the fucking stupidest nod. Terry Gilliam, the director of Brazil, plays this dude who gives her tattoo.
Oh, the guy with all the gadgets?
Yes.
Oh, wow.
And if you want to be like, well, this reminds me of Brazil. Oh, there's the director. That's exactly what they're doing.
Oh, wow.
So she gets this kind of like blacklight tattoo on her, kind of, to show that she owns the earth, I guess, now.
Yeah.
And she's all like, well, remind me to never talk bad about the DMV.
Yeah, and by this point, Mila and Channing has had some moments.
Yeah, the will they, won't they kind of.
Yeah. Because Mila is really kind of going after him. She's all like, I fall for guys that don't fall for me.
God, this movie is so bad. This line here, because... Yeah, after she says that, he goes, well, I have more in common with dogs than people. And she goes, well, I love dogs. Like, how much do you love dogs?
And when he walked away, she's like, I love dogs. Just like, oh, I can't believe I said that.
I know. Yeah, it's bad.
Yeah, and then she tries again. And I think they almost kissed, but then they were interrupted.
Well, this is where we find Sean Bean has betrayed them.
Oh, yeah.
Because the people who work for the younger brother Titus show up and take Mila Kunis away. And so they basically put Channing Tatum in like a dungeon. And we find out later they put Stringer in a dungeon as well. But they all take him to this ship that the younger brother Titus is on. And we start getting like the wooing of Mila Kunis here.
Yeah.
He's like telling her here, he's like, oh, my mother and I were so close. I loved her so much. You look exactly like her, so this is kind of fucked up, but will you marry me?
Yeah, that's so weird.
Yeah, and this is where we find out exactly what it is that they trade in. We're here where he takes her down below, and they see all of these kind of these canisters with the stuff that was in the pool for the sister. And he was like, this stuff here is called Regenex. Which better name, maybe.
Oh, dear.
He's like, it's made from harvesting people.
Yeah. It's fluid that is refined by 100 humans.
Yeah, 100 people is one container.
One little container.
And he's like, and it can make people young again, which is what the two bounty hunters that stole Mila Kunis earlier, they were paid in this stuff. We don't know what it is at the point, but they're given like a few canisters of that.
I just thought, oh, this is like their money.
Drugs or something.
Oh, yeah, drugs. Yeah, that would have been better.
Because the Asian woman tastes it.
Oh, that's
She's
right.
Like, it's pure.
Ew.
We're happy.
Ew.
The drive off.
You just ate human
Just ate people.
genes.
Which, do you know of another movie where people are a source of energy? Maybe directed by the same people of this movie?
No.
The Matrix.
Oh.
Do you remember people were used for power by the robots?
Yes.
It's like, whoa, they really like that trope.
Wow. Okay. That's insane.
Yeah, it's a little, you were like, whoa, they're doing this again, except people make you young instead of give machines power.
I didn't put that together. That's good.
Well, Titus is all like, look, my mother at the end of her life didn't want to keep doing this. She grew depressed. And I want to keep her wishes. I want to stop the trade of this Regenex. And only you can help me. If we get married, I will be able to say I own the earth and we can stop it. And he's like, and look, I know we're around all these containers, which is basically equivalent to millions and millions of people that have been killed. Will you marry me?
Oh, my. And then it just shows how gullible she is.
Yeah.
She's like, oh, he's got to be telling the truth.
Yeah, I know. Because he's all like, my older brother wants to harvest this, but if we got married, I could stop it. And so she goes through with it. I mean, we find out the brother is lying here. He has a line later where he's like, I lie just to lie sometimes. He's like, lying is the reason for living.
Mm-hmm.
So Channing Tatum, we find out, has been shot into space. The brother is all like, oh, Channing Tatum will be, he will be fine. He will be sent away. And they put him in an airlock and they were like, we'll see you later, asshole. And as Channing Tatum is getting shot out of this airlock, he kicks a bunch of shit out into space with him, which turn out to be spacesuits.
Yeah, they're like little boxes that turn into a suit.
Which is so stupid to me because they don't take his fucking boots. So that's how he's able to, fly in space.
Oh, Jesus.
I was like, why don't you take his boots away?
Yeah, because now, I mean, even if he held his breath for a little bit, he might be able to get back.
Maybe. I don't know. Well, he gets one of these suits on, and I was like, well, okay, well, I guess he's going to be fine. But the suit says it, runs out of air pretty quick.
Yeah, which there were several containers.
I was like, why don't you just go get another one?
Just grab a couple on the way.
Yeah. Well, he's about to die. And as soon as, it doesn't look good for him, the cop ship that comes and saves Mila from the sister shows back up and saves him.
Just in time.
And we see that because he betrayed them, Stinger has been put into a holding cell on this ship. And Channing Tatum's all like, why'd you do it? And he's like, my daughter that we met for 5 seconds, He's like, they gave me some of the Regenex for her to heal her.
Aw.
And Channing Tatum's like, that's it? That's the only reason? Okay, I guess you're okay. You're not going to betray us again. And so he decides to help him.
Well, Channing's like, yeah, we probably all would have done that
For sure, yeah.
in your position. If you have family and they're sick and there's a way that you can
Help them.
make them better, yeah, you probably do some shady shit.
Yeah, for sure. Well, so you want to talk about Japanese anime or manga? They are flying to the ship where Titus is because Mila Kunis has agreed to get married, and they are in this chamber, and she's in like a gigantic wedding gown, and
Yeah, she's had some different wardrobe changes that some of them I'm like, they're very pretty.
yeah, and this whole scene, it's so funny because this room is filled with people, and as she's like brought down on this little hover platform to Titus, she's like, who are all these people? And he's all like, oh, they're like robots or something. It's like nobody wants to be here or something like that.
Don't worry. We're
And-
paying them. It's fine.
I know. And you want to talk about time being stretched out here. They are getting married. And Titus puts his hand under like this little tattoo machine, and it gives him kind of another blacklight tattoo on his finger,
Yeah.
which I would get that. That kind of looked cool.
Yeah.
But tattoos on the finger, though, are kind of strange. But if it was kind of like a CGI tattoo like they get, that'd be kind of interesting.
That'd be different.
My friend who I used to play music with has a tattoo of a ring on his finger.
Yeah, I mean, I get it. You're like, we're together for life. And I think everybody feels that way at the beginning. And things can happen. You hope it doesn't, but things can.
I know. I hate to be that way when you're like, well, what if this happens, But
That's
you
why
just
you
don't know.
don't tattoo other people's names.
Yeah.
Birthdays. Don't get matching tattoos. You ink up your body how you want to ink it up.
I know. I've heard it's like bad luck to get your spouse's name tattooed on you.
Mm-hmm. Especially around the neck. I mean, that's the classic.
On the face.
I mean, I have an extra E in my name, so that's pretty long.
Yeah.
That'd really cover your whole neck.
Depending on how big you get it, I guess.
Yeah. Oh, it'd have to be big. Bigger the better.
Gotcha. Okay. Well, I know. I guess what my next tattoo is. Is that what you're hinting at here?
No, I would never let you.
Yeah. Well, here, this is so funny, is they're going through this wedding ceremony here, and Channing Tatum and Stinger, Sean Bean's character, get into these mech suits, and they're like flying towards the ship where Titus is on, and Titus is like tons and tons of like mini ships to stop them, and it's like, if you ever played the game Geometry Wars, all they are just shapes that keep shifting, and they're just trying to fly through them.
Yeah, this is where he's the only one that could get through it.
Gotcha. Okay.
I think.
It takes like 30 minutes for them to do this, it feels like,
Oh,
and the wedding is going on at the same time.
Yeah.
And like, do you, Titus, take this on? Like, he's like, we're gonna get through here. I'm like, well, apparently this only took seconds because they get there. Stinger, I think, like gets through and cuts off, but Channing Tatum like crashes his right into the glass of the chapel.
Yeah, just as Mila was getting her tattoo, it didn't finish.
Yeah.
She pulled away just in time.
He's all like, he's like, did the ring get tattooed? And she's like, no, and it fades away because it didn't finish. And he's like, he was gonna take the earth from you and kill you.
What? No way. He said he wouldn't.
Yeah, and he he told me no.
He said he loves me, and I believe him.
Yeah, well, Channing Tatum takes her, and he's all like, do I have your permission to kill him? She's like, no. Leave him for some reason, and they leave.
Leave him for some unknown reason.
Well,
Bye.
he doesn't ever come back, really.
No.
None of the other siblings really do, but so they leave, and this is where, they kind of get the conversation a little bit of, they're talking more about how they like each other and stuff, and Mila Kunis is like, oh, well, in order for me to marry him, I did ask for Titus to pardon you and Stinger so you could join the police force again. You got your badges back. And she's like, here are your pardons, and he's like, I didn't do it for that. And she's like, I just want to go home.
No. So he's like, fine, I'll take you home.
This is another one of the funniest parts of the movie here. We cut back to the Russian in-laws, the Russian family, and they're in their house, and they're yelling at the cousin who was doing this whole thing with the eggs. he apparently bought a shit ton of stuff before ever getting the money.
Oh, yeah.
But they're yelling at him, and as they are fighting, like one of those, the new commander of the dragon people drops down, and like this family is just all like, "Oh my gosh, what is this?" Like none of them have a heart attack.
Yeah, I'd be screaming my lungs out.
Yeah, you think the older, like the sister's husband, would be like,
Yeah.
pass out and die, but they're gonna be kidnapped. They are kidnap bait now again for Eddie Redmayne to use. So they take Mila Kunis back to Earth, and she's like, just leave me alone. And as they get into the house, they realize, they see the family's gone, the house is trashed. And the mole man, Chicanery Knight, which is just a terrible name, and the dragon leader guy are like, oh, Balaam has your family, and he wants you to come and give up the earth, so he'll let them go, or so your family. And she's like, will he let them go? Will they be safe? And the mole man's like, he will do his best. I'm like, well.
At least he's honest.
Well, maybe I should do it. And Channing Tatum's all like, don't do it. It's not cool. And she's like, I'm going. I'm going to go. And Channing Tatum's like, that's fine. We'll follow you. It's like, we'll follow you in. And like, we'll be right behind you the whole time. And they go to Jupiter. If I was her, I'd be like, do I own this planet too? Is that why my name is Jupiter?
Yeah, that's kind of weird.
They go to Jupiter where Eddie Redmayne is, and their ship gets through, and then Channing Tatum and Sean Bean's ship, as they're going through, it starts to close, and the ship like starts to get damaged, so they have to pull back, so they can't get into Jupiter.
Yep, they plan that shit.
Which, this is where we see Elephant Man. Like, as they're trying to get into the portal here, the portal's closing on him, and Elephant Man's like,
oh, so cute.
So Mila's brought before Eddie Redmayne's character, and he's like, look, I promise you, if you give me the earth, I won't harvest it until long after you're dead.
Oh, I put in this, I was like, he talks like the Godfather.
You said that, yeah. I'm gonna make you an offer you can't refuse. I promise I won't harvest earth until after you're dead. That's not really Godfather, but... And she's like, you mean it?
For real, everybody's been lying to me. Are you
like,
sure?
Well, your sister lied to me, your younger brother lied to me, but you seem on the level.
I seem to trust you. You look very trusting.
Yeah. He's like, yes, I will. And he's like, just hold your black light tattoo up to this document and the earth will be mine and your family will be spared. Because the family are about to be put through the same machine he killed the leader of the dragons earlier with. They're like through this holographic floor. He does the little clapper. He's like, and you see through the floor.
Like, wow.
You're like, oh, okay. And she's about to do it, and Channing Tatum's on the ship up there, and he's like, I can get through the beam somehow. Like, a big ship couldn't, but for some reason I could through this mech suit. So he drops down through the beam, like the little portal through the mech suit, and he somehow makes it.
Well, Sean Bean was like, hey, I know you like this girl.
Yeah.
So find a way. Go get her. And he's all like, okay, I'll do it.
He's like, the way is just blasting through this portal, this blockade portal here, and just hoping that I don't get murdered.
Yep.
He flies down to Jupiter, and I guess he destroys something because, like, the whole planet starts going up, this facility that they're on.
Yeah, it's like it had like a weird exterior that if it's broken, then the whole planet goes to hell.
Yeah, I don't know. Everything starts blowing up, and she's all like, oh, what was that? And she's like, oh, Kane. Kane must be here, and she doesn't sign the contract, which Eddie Redmayne, we don't really talk about it very much here, but he does have moments where he's yelling, because there's a moment earlier in the movie where they were like, well, we've got to find her, because of what the Regenex and stuff, and he goes, I create life!
Yeah, he just...
And death.
Has the moments of yelling.
Yeah, and he's like, you will sign the document!
Just like any villain,
Yeah. They're like, well, I thought your throat got bitten out, but you can yell there. You're yelling just fine.
Yeah, your vocal cords seem fine. Have you been going to speech therapy? Because it's working.
We can't sign the contract yet because from 3 to 4, my vocal therapy sessions.
Every Tuesday and Thursday.
But since the facility is breaking up, you know, Mila Kunis and him like fall through the floor and they're fighting and shit. And Channing
Mhm.
Tatum comes in and he starts fighting the head of the dragon people and they kiss. She was like, "Oh, in case we can't do this again," she kisses him.
Yeah.
She's like, "Wow, your mouth tastes like your crotch." And he's like, "Yeah, I was grooming before I got here."
Oh, another thing, and you only see it every once in a while, but his teeth. He's
Yeah,
got some weird teeth, and you only really see it once or twice. Um, but the other times when he's talking, you just kind of get this like sense that there's another tooth there that
mhm.
shouldn't that's not normal.
Something. Yeah,
It's like, or it's like, does he have something in his mouth? Is he eating something? Like, is he chewing gum and you're seeing that gum in his mouth?
like I think you need to get a toothpick or
Again, just one of those little things that really kind of bother me sometimes.
right. You've got something in your teeth there, buddy. But they fall and she kisses him, but then like she's running away and Eddie Redmayne comes up. She has a blaster and he's like, "You won't shoot me," and she shoots him in the leg and he's like, "Ow, ow, 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 owie, 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 owie."
Owie, 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 owie.
This whole thing, is still falling apart again, and they fall down this tube. It's like a hover tube or something. They're falling forever, and they
Yeah.
finally fall long enough to where they reach platforms, and Mila Kunis is like running through it, trying to escape.
It kind of looks like the same tube with all the gene jizz in it.
Yeah. Well, I think this is, like we said before, I think this is where they kind of maybe manufacture it.
Yeah, maybe.
Cut in between this here is Channing Tatum fighting this dragon guy, and it taking forever.
Another huge, like, too long fight scene.
Yeah. It takes forever, and it eventually ends with Channing Tatum like capturing this dude, or like I don't know if he hung him basically, but he turns the floor off. The dragon guy falls through it, and he turns it right back on, and he catches him by like his face,
Yeah, like right at his throat.
which is like, oh, okay, did he kill him? You don't really know. It seems like he's just kind of stuck him there. He didn't really kill him.
Yeah, it doesn't seem like he's choking and his head wasn't cut off.
Yeah,
It's just like he's just hung there forever.
yeah, it doesn't make sense, which go figure, just add it. So cut back to Mila Kunis. She's running, trying to find a way out. Eddie Redmayne comes back in, and he's just talk about the Godfather. He's just beating her with a pipe here,
Yeah.
and he's like, "Do you know what my mother said before I killed her?
What?
Who saw that coming?" And he's like, "She said I hate my life," which is kind of what Mila Kunis said earlier.
Mm-hmm.
He's like, "She begged me to kill her. I swear it. That's what I said to the cops, at least."
That's what got me off on the death sentence.
Yeah. He's beating the shit out of her, and she puts her finger in his leg wound, and he's all like, "Ow again! Oh,
Owie, owie, owie.
yeah, I don't understand pain very well. It hurts." And she gets the pipe and is beating the shit out of him. And then, as they're fighting, the thing falls apart for a third time. Mila Kunis jumps to safety, and he falls to his death.
Yep.
And you're like, thank God.
Yeah, I'm glad this is over. Shit.
She gets out, and she's like, "Oh, I'm here, Kane," and or they have like a tracker on her or some shit. I don't remember, but Kane is talking to the ship. The ship has finally come down onto the planet since it's falling apart now, and he's like, "Oh, I've got some people here," and he's like basically just towing these like 17 people here. He's like, "I've got a family of Russian immigrants I need to get off this planet." So he gets them up to the ship. They're all in like these cocoon type things, so they're not dying. Whatevs. But he's like, "I have to go back for Jupiter," and they kind of know where she's at, I guess, or she radios or something. He flies to her, grabs her. This planet's about to blow, and Kane, this is where these boots come in as magic boots again, because he is flying towards this ship, and this ship is like taking off. They're like, "We gotta get the fuck out." The Elephant Man's like, "We gotta get the fuck out of here." They take off. Channing Tatum is like right behind them, and the ship does the warp jump, and they come out like right in front of Earth.
Yeah, like, shoo.
And they're like, oh my god, Channing Tatum and Mila Kunis, they're dead. The main character of this movie are fucking dead.
Oh, man.
And he's like, Houston, this is Odyssey. We're here, like Apollo 13. He's like, yeah, we're here. Hello. And they're like, yay, we did it. We beat the bad guys. Mila Kunis is still alive. I'm sure she's going to go on to great things and be the ruler of the earth and be the queen.
Absolutely. She's going to change the world.
And we cut to her cleaning toilets again.
Yep. She's just going right back to what she was doing.
But the thing is that she's happy about it.
Oh, yeah. She's up before her mom. She's got the coffee ready. She's got breakfast going. She is just on it.
And they're all like, wow, she doesn't hate her life anymore. She made dinner, or made breakfast. How about that? They're like, hey, we know how much you wanted this thing, so we all chipped in and got you a present, and it's the telescope.
Oh,
She's like, oh my god.
that's so sweet.
Yeah, which I'm like, was this the same telescope her father got her? What the fuck?
Oh, even though I'm royalty now and I kind of have enough money, it's fine.
You would think she has a shit ton of money, but they don't mention anything like that. They're just like, you own the earth.
Yeah, and that's it.
That's all.
You don't do anything with it.
It'd be funny if later, if her family pisses her off, she's like, you pissed me off again, I'm gonna sell this fucking planet. I will fucking have this planet harvested. They were like, well, let's go up and look at the telescope. And she's like, I have a date.
It's like, I'm busy. God, you guys are so lame.
Yeah, I have a date with a half man, half wolf.
Oh, yeah, because I love dogs.
I love dogs. What the fuck?
Oh, Jesus. I said it again.
You know how I know he likes me? Because he humps my leg all the time. He pisses on me to mark his territory.
Oh, boy.
They're on top of some building in Chicago, and Channing Tatum's talking to her for a minute here. He's like, oh, yeah, that was a crazy, crazy movie we were just in, wasn't it? And Mila Kunis has put on the hover boots. Channing Tatum has given them to her.
Oh, boy.
Because Channing Tatum got his wings back.
He's got wings?
Yes, he does. They're like mechanical, kind of like cyber wings and shit.
Did he drink Red Bull?
They gave him, Red Bull gave him wings.
I thought so.
But he is like kind of hovering on it with his wings, and she has the hover boots. They kiss, and then they fly off around Chicago again. Credits, that's the end of this movie.
And I thought the ending, it looked a little like cartoonish.
Oh, God, for real.
Like she didn't look like a real person. She's just more like cartoonish.
Well, she doesn't look like a real person because she's not. It's terrible CGI.
Yeah. They're like, oh, we spent all of our money. We got to make this look like shit.
For sure. Yeah, no, it looks bad. So that was it. I was thinking about this movie earlier today when I was kind of going back over my notes. This maybe could have been a good show. Like a Game of Thrones in space. This whole like she's the queen of Earth thing maybe should have been cut out if they were gonna make it, a show like that. But like a Game of Thrones in space could have been interesting.
They could show like different planets getting harvest and kind of what they do.
Yeah, and like the infighting between the family because the mother has died. I mean, well, Game of Thrones was going on, I think, at this point, 2015. Yeah, so.
What was that movie that we just did that was part 1?
Oh, Rebel Moon.
Rebel Moon. It could be like Rebel Moon. Because they're harvesting. It's just a different type of harvesting.
Well, this movie is like Rebel Moon.
It is.
In that it sucks dick.
It could. They are both. Except I think Rebel Moon was funnier to talk about. I don't know.
Yeah.
So crazy.
I was like, oh, this might be funny to talk about, but
no, it is still funny to talk about. The Rebel Moon, man. If you haven't listened to that episode, go back.
Yeah, it's just a matter of we had to explain so much of this backstory. And you're like, so there was a mother, and apparently she had sex with Satan, but there was a mother. We just had to like go back through all of it, but we'll wrap it up here. Did you enjoy it?
I'm glad I watched it.
Yeah.
I thought it was comical, even though it wasn't supposed to be.
Mm-hmm.
I thought it was interesting, but also very boring.
It was, yeah.
And would not watch again.
God, no. No, I wouldn't watch it again.
So it was like, if it's just, if you're like, I don't know what to watch. It's a decent movie.
Yeah, if you're just killing an afternoon, I don't have anything to do right now. May like, if you do your crafts or you draw like we do and want to have something in the background going on, maybe.
Yeah, true that.
Well, that was Jupiter Ascending.
Yeah. So thank you again for listening. If you enjoyed this episode, please spread the word by telling a friend, or you can go and rate us on your favorite platform. If you happen to rate us 5 stars on iTunes, just make sure you leave your name and where you're from so we can give you a shout out. And you can also follow us on Instagram or Facebook.
Yes, and we very much appreciate if you did, and thank you so much again for listening. So, next week, I was trying to think of what are we going to do, what might be a funny movie to talk about. I don't know if you've ever seen it, but we're going to be talking about the remake of Nicolas Cage's The Wicker Man.
Oh, if it's got Nicolas Cage, man, this is going to be fun.
It's so funny. It's such a bad movie, and yeah, it's a remake of a British kind of horror movie back in the 70s, I believe it was, which was very well regarded, and this is just something else. So I'm excited to talk about it. I think it's going to be really fun.
We'll see you then.